A major shift just hit 2311 Racing, and it's shaking up the NASCAR world. Fans and teams are watching closely to see what happens next.
Who really controls the future of NASCAR? In a sport where money, influence, and tradition collide, Michael Jordan's 2311 Racing just might be at the center of a revolution. But this isn't just about racing, it's about power. And the battle happening off the track could change everything. The stakes are higher than ever. NASCAR is under pressure to modernize, and more teams are demanding a say in how things are run. This lawsuit is about much more than just a few racing spots. It's about who will shape the future of one of America's biggest sports. And with Michael Jordan's name attached, everyone's watching.
Michael, are you disappointed that you're going for a championship and this is also hanging over you?
No, I've been in situations of disparity. I think the race team's going to focus on what they have to do this weekend, which I expect them to. And I think Jeffrey did an unbelievable job today. And I think, I put all my cards on the table. I think we did a good job of that. And, but I'm looking forward to winning the championship this weekend, though.
What's making this even more dramatic is the timing. NASCAR is entering a critical phase in its evolution, with TV viewership fluctuating and younger fans tuning in through digital platforms. Teams like 2311 are trying to bring a fresh image to the sport. They believe that having a voice in how things are run is not just about fairness, it's about survival. It started when NASCAR introduced a new charter agreement for 2025 and beyond. These charters work like VIP passes. They guarantee race entry and a cut of the big TV money. 13 out of 15 teams signed on, but 2 refused. Jordan and the 2311 Racing team he co-owns refused to sign the deal Friday night. Front Row Motorsports, a much smaller organization, surprisingly took the same stance as high-powered 2311. The teams argued that NASCAR wasn't negotiating, they were demanding. The lawsuit said NASCAR was acting like a monopoly, controlling everything and giving teams no real say. The most controversial part? A clause that forced teams to give up their right to sue NASCAR. The teams called it a trap, not a choice. By October 2024, the case was in court. Then in December, a judge stepped in and gave 2311 and Front Row a win. They could keep racing and buying charters while the case was being decided. For a while, it looked like the underdogs had the upper hand. The teams requested a preliminary injunction with the district court to allow them to participate under the terms of the charter agreement for 2025, excising the release forbidding them to sue the sanctioning body. It initially failed, but was ultimately approved by Judge Kenneth D. Bell in December. But NASCAR wasn't done. They came back swinging with their own lawsuit. They claimed the teams were working together behind the scenes, planning a boycott to get better terms. NASCAR called it a setup, not a legal argument. The fight caught the attention of more than just race fans. Sports experts and lawyers started weighing in. Could this case change how sports leagues and teams work together? Could NASCAR lose control of its own business model? More fans began to take sides. Social media lit up with debates. Some said the sport needed change and praised Jordan for stepping up. Others worried that these kinds of legal fights would distract from what makes NASCAR exciting: racing itself. By spring 2025, tensions were sky high. NASCAR said the court order gave the teams too much protection and asked for it to be overturned. On June 5th, the appeals court agreed. They took away 2,311 and Front Row's charter status. That was a big deal. Without those charters, teams don't get guaranteed spots or money. They have to qualify on speed alone. 2311 Racing and Front Row are still allowed to compete in the Cup Series, but having charter status guarantees them automatic spots in races, and they would earn more money with a charter than as open teams. An open team must qualify their way into each race. Reuters reported that the court didn't think the teams would win their case. It said NASCAR's contract terms weren't illegal. That was a huge setback, but 2311 wasn't quitting. After the ruling, Denny Hamlin said his team would keep racing, even without the charter. That means more pressure, more costs, and more risk. But the team is still in it for the long haul. Then came June 17th. That's when U.S. District Judge Kenneth Bell stepped in again. He practically begged both sides to make a deal. He warned that the longer this fight continues, the worse it gets. "What scares me to death is what this is costing," he said. It wasn't just a warning, it was a wake-up call. Everyone in that courtroom knew the stakes were getting out of control. Jeffrey Kessler, the lawyer for the teams, didn't hold back. He called NASCAR's arguments nonsense and said that teams organizing together isn't illegal. It happens in every major sport. He accused NASCAR of twisting the law to silence its critics. NASCAR's lawyers pushed back. They said the teams weren't trying to improve the sport. They were trying to get a better deal by using threats, and the court shouldn't support that kind of move. The debate wasn't just in courtrooms. Sponsors started watching closely. Some hinted that the uncertainty could impact future deals. Big names in the industry don't want to back a sport with unstable rules or infighting that spills into the headlines. Now, the entire industry is talking. Some people support the teams, saying NASCAR has always favored the bigger, older organizations. Others worry that giving too much power to the teams could create chaos, like what happened with failed breakaway leagues in soccer and other sports. The legal strategies from both sides are intense. The teams say they're fighting for a better system, one that respects the role owners play in building the sport. NASCAR insists it needs control to keep the sport running smoothly and consistently. With the injunction gone, the teams are officially racing without charter protection. That puts them at a big disadvantage unless something changes. Judge Bell thinks a deal is still possible, but nobody knows if it will happen in time. December 1st is the big trial date. If no agreement is made, both sides are headed for a courtroom showdown that could reshape the way NASCAR works forever. This isn't just about a contract. It's a fight over what NASCAR will look like in the future. One side wants to keep tight control. The other side wants more freedom, more money, and more say in the sport they help build. If the teams win, NASCAR could be forced to change everything. How it handles deals, who gets paid, and who gets to race. But if NASCAR wins, it sends a clear message. Follow the rules or get left behind. No matter what happens, this fight has already changed the game. What started as a disagreement over paperwork has turned into one of the biggest legal battles in NASCAR history. And while most fans are focused on the track, the real action might be happening in court. Because no matter which side you're on, one thing is clear: NASCAR may never be the same again. The path to December is full of unknowns, but one thing's for sure: everyone will be watching. Because what happens in this case won't just affect a couple of teams. It could change the entire sport. So whether you're cheering for NASCAR or backing Team Jordan, buckle up. This is the kind of drama that racing history is made of. If you found this story as wild as we did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Do you think 2311 is fighting for fairness or pushing too far? And what side of this racing revolution are you on? We're just getting started.